Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of We Should Have Recorded That with Phil and.
Adam.
Hey, Adam.
Oh, dear audience. Phil and I have been on this call for, what now? 20 minutes
Let's
at
see.
least.
I don't.
And
I don't even see my timer right now.
the antics that happen off the air.
Yes.
Oh, someday we'll publish a best of our bloopers.
Yes. Someday we will. Someday we will. How are you
Anyway, how
doing
are
today?
you, Phil?
I'm good. I'm all right. How are you today?
I'm tired.
Right. Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
I'm good,
Mm-hmm.
but tired.
Right. Yeah. That's what we were talking about. So let's get right into it then.
Let's.
So we get the best out of you
Uh,
today.
I mean,
um,
what there is. Yes.
Listeners, if you really are enjoying, and you are finding, or our conversations insightful, please share it. Please subscribe and also comment. I think that's the big. That's like we would appreciate that most of all. If you
Yeah,
if
we
you
want to
comment.
we want to know what you think.
Yes. Yes.
Just be forewarned that if you're really insightful, we'll ask you to be a guest.
Yes, probably will. So just
So if you've always wanted to be a guest on a highly acclaimed and prestigious podcast, this is your way.
your opportunity. This is your chance. This is your chance. So, do you have any comments
No, I
today?
do not. No.
I
I'm taking a little hiatus from Facebook.
okay.
I'm not on Facebook during Lent, so it's very possible that someone has commented, but I have not seen it. So,
Okay.
dear listener, if you're listening to this during Lent 2021 and you're commenting on things on Facebook, I'm not seeing them, and I'm much happier for it. Wait, no, I am not. I'm sad to be missing your WSRTwPA
Comments.
related
Yes.
comments, but I am
Uh,
very happy to not be seeing hatred
yeah.
and stupidity.
Yeah. I feel you. I feel you. But so I was actually talking to Dr. McGee today, and he shared a comment. He said he really enjoyed our episode with Dr. Fonza Smith,
Oh,
and
awesome.
yeah, he really enjoyed hearing her story. And of course, as as an African American singer himself, growing up in the black church, he really appreciated what she was saying about singing gospel music with well. So so
Yes.
yeah, we would love to have her back and hear more about that and some other things. So there are so many things we could have
Yes.
followed up on. So
Well, let's have both of them back sometime.
that would be great. I think that would be great. That would be great. So
Yes.
so Adam,
So, Phil,
what are we talking about today?
today we are going to talk about process versus product. So this is a teachery thing, but a musical thing, and I'm coming at it from the musician's perspective. I'm sure that in other disciplines they talk about process versus product, but I want to talk about it as a musician and as a music teacher, how it informs our pedagogy, how it informs our curriculum, how it informs our methods. So, Phil, before I start pontificating,
Mm-hmm.
what does process versus product conjure up in your mind?
So going back to when you introduced this to me, um, I thought about this example. I think about like tying shoes, right?
Hmm.
Like so if it's a process oriented teaching, it's going to be a longer process, so we have to teach them how to tie. You have to, what is it, task analysis. Teach them
Yes.
how to, tie the strings together, put the loops, and then go, all those stages, to finally they can then tie a shoe versus product, which in the case of tying a shoe, you may just tie the shoe for them.
Yeah.
Like that's, I mean,
Exactly. What is
so
and think about the 4-year-old who you're teaching to tie their
right.
shoe.
Mm-hmm.
Think about how long it takes them to tie their shoe, how long it takes to teach them to tie their shoe, and
Mm-hmm.
then how long it takes them to master that so that they can do it
Mm-hmm.
quickly. I mean, I've hardly mastered it myself. If I'm going to tie my shoe, you better give me 2 minutes. All right, so think about how long that takes them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But and think about how quickly you could just tie it for them.
Right.
So why in the world do we teach kids to tie their shoes instead of just tying their shoes for them?
Well, because you want, because you do want that grown person to be able to tie their shoes and not trip up over shoestrings by
Oh.
themselves when they don't have you around, right?
Okay. So, Phil, is this as complicated or as simple as the give a man a fish and you've fed him for a day, teach a man how to fish and you've fed him for a lifetime?
I mean, maybe so, but I think even, I think it's how you teach them to fish, you know,
Mm.
because I mean, because we've talked about going back musically. You can teach, and again, like you're saying with the curriculum, it's yeah, thinking about how to catch maybe certain fish, like all these different things. Like what is the most fundamental things, and then we're able to branch off, and they're able to learn other things after they really
Mm.
grasp the
Yes.
fundamental thing.
They are
You know.
transferring the
Right. Right.
skills they've learned
Mm-hmm.
to new contexts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Let's think about this from a musician's perspective. All right, so what? Let's uh, if the goal is great concert. Okay,
Right.
that's a fine goal.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
the we all want I want great concerts. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
okay. That if that is the it, how are you going to teach your let's say well let's mix it up, Phil. You're going to be a
Mm.
band director today instead of a choral director.
Okay.
How are you going
All
to teach
right.
your band?
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I think that would be even more complicated. I think it would be easier to do product with the choir than
All
with the
right, well, all right.
band.
We'll
No,
we'll stick with what you know. All
I'm not.
right.
I'm gonna. I want to. What would you? How would you do that? Like, I
I'm
mean,
not a
you
band
have way more
director. I don't
experience.
know.
No,
No. Okay. No. All right.
go ahead.
Here. If
Go ahead.
if I were a band director, if I was all and the goal, the it
Right.
was great concert, then it would just be all about pushing the right button at the right time to
Mm-hmm.
make the right sound, and it would anything that deviated from the goal of achieving perfection for the concert I would not have time for it.
Right. Right. Right.
Okay. Now I know more specifics of what
Mm-hmm.
that same exact thing looks like in the
Right.
choral world. So in the choral world, if my it was great concert and I had no other goals, it would be banging out parts so that they were learned as quickly as possible and then giving voice lessons to make sure that they were singing as beautifully as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, by voice lessons, I mean teaching them how to produce great tone.
Right. 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 Right.
You know, but there would be no real education going on. I'd be teaching them how to make great tone in that specific instance. Okay, in bar 38 of this piece, you're on a high note and it's an ah vowel, and you do that here in bar 38 of this piece. But the students would have I wouldn't have the time to mention even to them, certainly not apply the transfer that they can sing in that same way in other places with high notes on ah vowels.
Right, right, yeah, but I think as we were kind of as you mentioned this a few days ago, I think this is another spectrum, right? Like, maybe that concert is a week away or 2 weeks away, and you've said, okay, we've really not gotten as far as I want, and I think we can. I'm going to, we're going to speed up this process and do more of the product and less of the process teaching.
Oh
Right.
yeah. I mean, we all fall back on some
Mm-hmm.
product-oriented teaching from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
Time for time constraints, for other extenuating circumstances. I make my methods students now do a skills analysis of a piece of music, a piece of music that they might teach to a middle school choir and a piece of music they might teach to a high school choir. And one of the rows on that skills analysis worksheet that I give them is out of sequence skills. In other words, things they will need to teach by rote.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine, right? I mean,
Right.
if the whole piece is out of sequence skills, that's not good.
Right.
But if you've got a couple of bars that are out of sequence and you're going to need to teach by rote, well, that's fine. Students are learning in the other however many bars of the piece, the skills or the process. So maybe we
Right.
should backtrack and we should really
Mm-hmm.
define process. Product, that's self-explanatory, right? Product is the end goal, the thing that is the visible public I
Yes.
want to say
What?
product, but I'm defining the word with the
what?
word.
What is presented? What is presented?
Yes,
What is presented?
I'm sure this is true in other. Okay, let's think. If the product is a great essay, okay, well, you can teach the process of writing, or and like really teach students critical analysis skills, how to think critically, how give them the tools of grammar and syntax and mechanics and teach all of that. Or you can give them a model and tell them to emulate it.
Mm-hmm.
Just write like this. Just change a few things about this already great essay. Okay, that does that serve any educational purpose to spoon feed your students?
Well, I think how I would say it, and I think you would agree with this, that the model is first, but because that's the rope, but you want to eventually take them to where they are the model themselves. That's where we want them to get to, right? And so
Yes.
maybe that first time you do deconstruct the essay of someone else, right? They
Mm-hmm.
they read
Yeah.
the essay, and then we start, okay, how can you say this, or how can you
Right.
put this part? And so
Sounds a
just
lot like you have a process in mind.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I would just I think the other idea is, like, where does it come from? Does it just come out of thin air? And no,
Oh,
it
right,
doesn't.
right, right, right. Of course not.
It
Yeah.
doesn't just come out of thin air. They, like, even with language, like, we hear it spoken. And so then we start as a maybe even a less structured process, start to label something. A child they will say cat, but then they can then point to a cat, and then we teach
Mm-hmm.
them how to spell cat. But yeah. But anyway.
You've heard that lecture before, haven't you?
Yes, yes, yes. I am. I'm regurgitating what I've heard. Yes, I'm
Yes, I'm a very proud professor right now that you use my cat analogy. Yeah. Um, yeah, so let's define process. What is process, Phil, at its base level?
I what is process? I mean, I guess just the steps to get to a goal. I guess.
That's right, the
Mm-hmm.
sequence.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so we were talking earlier about the goal being the concert, the
Right.
objective being the product.
Right.
What if the objective were a sound, sequential, logical, linear, and content rich process?
Mm.
What if the goal were actually that our students were becoming independent, self sufficient, lots of skills, able to transfer, and learning?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What a novel concept.
Right. Right. Yeah. But the thing is, the thing like what we're saying, and maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but it makes me excited though. Like when we give the skills and we get to a point to where they can really apply them, they can learn the music. They
Yes.
will learn. They will be excited because then you don't have to sit at the piano or say speak this rhythm after me. They can look where after we've taught them, they can look at the rhythm and then speak it back to you and correct you. Mr. Woodard, I think that was the wrong. You said the wrong.
Yes. Yes.
And that's exciting.
When you can work yourself out of a job, you've done your job.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's pick up on this conversation next week.
Sounds nice.
So let's move into our final segments. Phil, what is your current event for Current Events Corner?
So, um, you've known this for a while, and I've thought about sharing this, and I want to share it in tandem with something else. So for most people probably who's listening to this podcast know this as well, because
Oh, surely we have a few audience members
we probably do.
for whom this is news.
Yes, and those who are like, I don't know what the news is. What is the news, Phil? So the news is, um, my wife and I are expecting our first child, and we are expecting a baby girl. I think we've settled on a name. I don't even think we've told you the name yet, Adam.
You haven't.
But Anais. Uh,
Oh, that's beautiful.
yes, I hope I'm saying it right. It is. I
You'll
so
figure it out.
I learned it, and then like her brother Claude. See, I even say because like most people be like, it's the English, like when you see
Right.
Claude's name is like Clyde, like, but it's more like Claude. He taught me how to say it, and then the next day he was like, there's this other way people say it too, and I'm like, but I just learned the first way.
So it's a Haitian name.
Yes, it's a very common Haitian name.
Okay.
What the second thing I want to say to the really quick, as I have been thinking about the possibility of being a father or a teacher, and especially with the religious thinking, I've thinking about how we pass down the faith to our children, but even with more current events like the trauma that you know certain people, marginalized people, have
Mm.
faced, and being thoughtful about how I teach my child about that and how to
Yes.
prepare
Yes.
them for it. Um, and there's this podcast called Pastor Mike, and they've started this phrase called "Leave Loud," where they kind of share about different scenarios, whether in a predominantly white church or just in in churches and in spaces in general, and so like that has had me again thinking about how do I not just protect my daughter, because I think I grew up in a very strong black community, and in some ways it equipped me, but in other ways there was a lot of blind spots, and so how do I equip my daughter to be strong and also know that she may face some opposition, and like for no other reason than for her skin color, or
Mm.
or I mean,
Yes.
yeah. So yeah, that's my current.
That's beautiful. Congratulations,
Thank
Phil.
you,
You're
thank you,
going to
Adam.
be a terrific dad.
I hope so. I
I
hope
know
so.
so. I know
What about you?
it.
What's your current event?
I'm just the situation at the border is weighing on me. I hope
Mm,
that I hope that the Biden administration is able to figure out a way to, you know, um, just humanely, compassionately deal with unaccompanied minors. Um, it is, oh gosh, I mean, it makes your heart go out to the conditions that must be present in their home countries
right,
that these children would would try to get
right.
into the United States. So anyway, I'm praying that our government is able to um, process
Mm,
these children in a way that aligns with our ideals as a nation.
right, right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just really quick pick up on what you were saying. I that really is what bothers me the most. Like, what are the conditions, and maybe try
Mm-hmm.
to figure out the causes of what is happening in their countries
Right.
for them to
Yes.
be making these choices.
Yes, I know. And I think that's the root cause. It just
Right, right, right.
migrants at the border, that's a symptom, right? But
Yes, yes,
what is the root cause? And
yeah,
I wish that we could do more to uh, to solve the root cause.
yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Phil, what did you learn this week?
What did I learn? I think I'm gonna do a softball here,
You're
because
welcome to.
so much of what we talked about are things that I've learned and in our in my studying with you. So I guess I'm just saying, I'm just thankful that that I did gain this, and hopefully, when I do and when I don't apply it, I'm reminded when I do apply it, and I'm happy to see the students succeed. And when I don't apply it, I go back and say, okay, how can I
Hmm.
come back? So
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
What about you?
I have two. The first is how pleased I am that you remembered task analysis. And the second is Anais.
Yes,
It's a beautiful name. I cannot wait to meet her.
yes, I look forward to introducing her to the community that I have. So yeah,
Yes.
it'd be great.
Yes. All right. Anything else, Phil?
No, that's it. Come back next week.
Come back
Come.
next week. Maybe Adam will be less tired.
No, this was great. This was great. So yeah,
Yes. Thank you, Phil. Always great to be with you.
yeah, same.
All right. Well, dear audience, bye for now.
Adios.